Jamin. Welcome to the Jackson
muted
Cloud.
now.
I was muted, but I'm Jamin.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Olivia.
And, well, I should just restart it over. I'm lazy. We're going to move into our fifth of seventh.
The fifth church.
The fifth. Thank you. We're moving into the fifth church in the letters to the churches of Revelation. Guys, we're in Revelation 3. Revelation 3.
It's only taken us 50 episodes.
No.
Wait. No, hold on. We went through 2 in like 3 episodes.
4.
4 episodes.
We did first chapter in about 20-something episodes. But Revelation 2, we did in 2 episodes. And you want to know something else? Revelation 3, we'll do in 3 episodes. See, you thought this was going to take forever.
Pretty much, yeah.
If only you had endured with patient endurance to the end, you would have known.
Wait, you mean I didn't endure with patient endurance?
The
We
church.
were here, weren't we?
We
Okay.
did endure.
I did Photoshop you guys in. That's why you're so quiet in these episodes.
Oh, okay. See, I thought I talked more in the last couple than I usually do.
Yes, you did. Yeah, all about Jezebel.
I haven't been able to make any good jokes, so it's been lower for me.
Revelation 3. And to the angel of the church in Sardis write the words of him who has the 7 spirits of God and the 7 stars. Who is that?
Jesus.
What was that statement?
The 7 stars
Yeah.
from...
Well, it was the opening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, in case he's classic.
Oh.
Yes,
plug.
it's
Okay,
the hello.
Yeah. And actually, that's one that he's... Did he use that one with Ephesus? Yeah, 7 stars in his right hand. So yeah, he's...
He's reusing
John's
material.
reusing material now, yeah. He always starts with a description of Jesus saying hello from chapter 1, and then
The Yelp
the
review.
Yelp review. Correct. I know your works. You have the reputation of being alive, but you're dead.
Ouch.
Does that
That's-
feel familiar, though? Like, that's hard. This is why...
That kind of hits home, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us have felt that before. A lot of people especially feel that in the pandemic. Really, Revelation could be very encouraging in the pandemic because there's this constant, just be faithful, just keep going. Don't give up, don't give in. But then this applies to how a lot of people are feeling these days. I know your works. You have the reputation of being alive, but you are dead. Wake up and strengthen what remains, and is about to die. For I have not found your works complete in the sight of my God.
Oof.
Remember our last church was told, keep my works until the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, to keep doing the work of God, whatever that might be. And then in this one, like, these ones are, seems like they have the reputation, like they do the works.
But not good enough.
Well, not that exactly. Like, they're probably doing actual works. But, well, does this hit home again? I mean, I'm trying to think of lots of people who are just constantly in the flow of doing things at church, trying to get on top of everything. If there's an event, they're there, and then you find out that they just crash because there was a whole bunch of stuff underneath they weren't taking care of, didn't care about, or something just switches in them and it's like they become a different person type thing.
Or they're doing all these works in the church because they want to be seen doing the works, but then you find out about their home life.
Which would be similar with Pharisees, is that they walked around trying to get attention for their works. Like Jesus really makes them look hilarious. Like, you gave money to a homeless guy and then blew your trumpet. Everybody, look what I can do. You know, like, that might be similar to this. But Jesus calls them out. Like, this could be a church in your community, wherever you live, where you're like, oh man, I've heard of all the crazy things that these people are doing. They just work so hard. What if Jesus has a word for them like this one? Is like, yeah, Sardis, everybody knows what you've been doing, but I see the intentions of the heart, and I see what's really going on inside. And I have not found your works complete in the sight of my God. Actually, this makes me think of the workers of lawlessness passage, which is Matthew 7. This passage is one of the most convicting passages in the whole Bible of people who seem to be doing the right things but aren't let into heaven. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. On that day many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, cast out demons in your name, do many mighty works in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. So the idea is like their lives are really full of sin. They're not actually pursuing God. There's no relationship. But at the same time, and the most interesting thing, they seem to be operating in gifts of the Holy Spirit. I know people will take this passage and be like, no, no, it's a false prophecy. It's false casting out demons. It's false mighty works. Jesus doesn't tell them that they're pagans. He just says, like, yeah, I've seen the spiritual gifts you've done, but, like, underneath that, there's nothing there. For me, that feels similar to what's being said to Sardis. Yeah, you've casted out demons. You've healed the sick. You've maybe done a few justice events, helped out with feeding people, those kinds of things. But underneath, your works aren't complete, because underneath there's this whole element that's just completely missing. But it's not like a condemnation of too late, sorry, you're all going to die and that's just the end. Instead, he does what he does to the other churches. No matter how intense the churches have gotten so far, it pretty much always goes this route. Remember then what you have received and heard. Keep it and repent. Right? Like, there's still time. If you will not wake up, though, I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what hour I will come against you. This part's fun, right? Can you think of other passages where that comes up? Thief in the night type stuff.
I mean, it's a phrase that I feel gets used very often.
Yep. Revelation 16, behold, I'm coming like a thief. Matthew 24:43. Know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. There's a few more. 1 Thessalonians, 2 Peter. So yeah, that's already a common Jesus statement. Like, you don't know when I'm coming. I'm coming like a thief in the night. But you want to know what's super interesting about him using this against Sardis? This is a geographical thing that's interesting. So have you ever been to a church where there's a guest speaker and they show up and they're like, so I was asked to preach here and I decided, like, to kind of like spiritually map your town, figure out what God prophetically wants to say to you based on what your town already has. Have you ever heard anything like that?
No.
I've heard something similar, but yeah.
What was that like? Do you remember the details or no?
No.
Okay. So if you were to try to spiritually map out Jackson, what would be the things that you would call attention to where we live?
I know where you're going with this.
Or should I say, if there was a if there was a traveling person that knew nothing about your town, was looking for things to, like, spiritually map you out, what might they say?
Darkness.
I mean, in what way? Like, where? What is the thing?
Well, like, I know we were talking about this, a little earlier, where, like, you feel a weight when they enter Jackson.
Oh yeah, I had a friend that would just, like, feel like they had to throw up when they get here because they're so sensitive to the spiritual atmosphere. Yeah. That's intense. When people do these kind of prophetic words, they would call attention to things like, as I Googled you, I learned that you have the biggest prison in all of Michigan type thing. So I went to a church one time and they had a guest preacher who was like, I was Googling to figure out, word free type thing, and saw that you had the biggest prison. And, it's fine when you're saying it from that perspective, but when you're the person who lives there, you're just like, don't you talk about my mom that way. Sure, I have a prison, but you talk about, but you don't get to talk about my prison. It's like, but also it feels a little out of touch because you're like, yeah, it's on the other side of the highway. It's technically in our county or city, I guess, but we don't think about it much. It's hidden.
It's just, somewhat kind of next to a school.
Yeah.
No big deal.
I went back to the same church. I had a guest speaker a few weeks later. And the guy's like, so I was thinking and praying over your city. What might I say? And I found out you have a prison. I know! Stop bringing it up! I want you to see me for me!
I'm
Not
just
my
a
prison!
Not just my prison. I'm bigger than my body. Yeah, okay. Anyways, that is a technique that sometimes gets practiced today. And as much as I would like to be like, how dare you, it's not entirely wrong. Because things like that, a lot of dark stuff does happen there. And when dark stuff happens, a certain kind of atmosphere does develop. That is partially how the kingdom of darkness works. What is going on over there?
One of our group chats is blowing up, apparently. My phone's not on mute. It normally is, and I'm sorry.
Well, in this particular case, I think John's doing that. Sardis was a city that was on more or less kind of on a mountaintop, all right? So 1,500 feet above the floor of the valley, barely connected to the mountain range. This place is, when you think of safety, you're thinking Casey's already going to go there. This is Gondor. This is a place that you're not really going to be able to get in. 1,500 feet above the floor of the valley, okay? So it's a strategically built place. It's impregnable.
Right. Just like when we play Fortnite, we always want to get the high ground so that we can see down upon the other people to shoot them.
Olivia started playing Fortnite last week, and we haven't heard the last of it.
Okay, you guys have been pressuring me to play Fortnite for 2 years?
Yes, we kept waiting for you to join us. You came at the end. Not the end. I'm not done.
You won't ever be done. You have kids.
It's true. Yeah. But this thing's impregnable. If you wanted to get into that, someone would have to scale the back wall, break in, cause chaos, let in the army from the front, things like that. So
no,
yeah,
this is Gondor. It was already messed up at the top.
Oh, okay.
When the guy burned and threw himself off the edge and flew flying down. Sorry, that when you talked about the big wall, I just thought of whee.
Okay.
Of the guy burning. Sorry. Anyway,
They had to scale the volcano first, Casey.
that's true.
Basically, if you wanted to get in there, you'd have to come like a thief in the night or something. See where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when Jesus is like, I'm coming like a thief in the night, not only is it that's the only way you could get in here, but it happened once. There was one night during the reign of King Croesus. The invading Persian army found a way in. Someone greatly daring got up part of the sheer cliff and managed a surprise attack because nobody was expecting it. The result was all the more devastating. And then Cyrus the Persian, who features in various biblical stories as well, conquered Sardis in 546 BC, a never-to-be-forgotten moment. Though Sardis remained an important city, the lesson had been learned. That's N.T. Wright right there. And other commentaries like to call attention to this too. Sardis, this is the Jackson prison of Sardis. Coming like a thief. Oh, not again. That would strike a chord with you. Yeah, I remember that one night like that. We
all remembered that.
We were all done messed up from that. Yeah. Just imagine someone scaling that to try to break in from behind. It's crazy. But when Jesus calls it out, I'm coming like a thief, they would have thought of their own history, right? And the next few churches that we see, they all get a little Jackson prison moment like this. And they're all very intriguing. I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what hour I will come against you. Yeah, we get it already. We remember. Yet you still have a few names in Sardis, people who have not soiled their garments, and they will walk with me in white, for they are worthy. Walk with me in white. You remember that? We talked about that in a previous episode. What walks in white?
Jesus.
Jesus.
And I think angels.
Mm-hmm.
And Gandalf.
Well, Jesus, transfiguration, Jesus in white clothes in the beginning of Revelation, right? But now it's the extension to humans to also walk in white, which means to be like Jesus, to almost take on our own resurrection type transfiguration, if you will, or to be like the angels who were also thought to be clothed in bright, shiny clothes, that we too become like spiritual beings. Walk with me in white, for they are worthy. So there's some in Sardis some in Sardis, the works that they're doing are legit, and Jesus sees them too.
So some of them can pick up Thor's hammer, since they are worthy.
Sure, Casey. Whatever you need to geek yourself out here. Thor's hammer would be connected to Zeus, which is connected to Satan. So you're messing with Revelation, because we've already seen all that, but sure. There's your imperfect analogy.
Fine. But it was funny.
But then the one who conquers will be clothed in white garments, right? How do you get clothed in white garments? By conquering. How do you get to that point?
You die.
You die. Not necessarily always through martyrdom, but that's going to continue to be a big theme throughout this. And I will never blot out his name from the book of life. We're going to see the book of life resurface later in Revelation when God pulls it out and tells us who gets in. And I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. So that's that feels kind of like jury-like again, like Jesus saying, like, this is my daughter with whom I am well pleased. This is my son with whom I am well pleased. That or good and well done, good and faithful servants, right? So I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. And that brings us to the end of Sardis. Any final thoughts or questions?
No.
Thief in the night.
Or Thor.
Sneak into our Discord like a thief in the night.
I don't like that. And then sabotage it by hacking it.
No.
Change all the moderator
No.
privileges. This is the analogy you were going with.
No,
think.
I meant like Jesus.
And see if you can rob me of that first comment on YouTube.
And we'll see you.